Seeing as none of my buttons are working, nothing's happening automatically. I had to like manually change scenes like a pleb. Who does that? Like clicking in OBS. I haven't done that for so long. Anyway. Right, YouTube is up and working. Very good. Let me just finish setting up my screens. Yeah, so Satisfactory is a factory builder game. There's a little bit of open world survival sort of in it, in that it's an open world. It's a giant sandbox. You can run around and do stuff. There are monsters that you need to kill, but that's not really, it's not really a focus of the game, and it's something that you can quite easily do without. And as you'll see when we get into the game, it's something you can also turn off. When we get in that area, I will show you some of the really annoying creatures that had me almost ready to rage quit this game. There's these giant spiders, and they can jump like 60 meters in the air or something stupid. So you're trying to like run away from them, and they just jump and they follow you for ages, and they deal more damage to you when you're in the air. When they do a jump attack on you. And there's just heaps of them around in the area I've been working in for the last 100 hours. There's just millions of them, and I got to a point where I just kept dying and dying and dying, and I was really sick of it. So I set the monsters to passive mode. So they will not attack me. You can set them to only attack you if you attack them, but I do also want to kill them occasionally because you collect stuff off them, and I just couldn't be bothered dealing with them anymore. So I turned them to passive mode and got on with the real reason why I play this game, which is building factories. So I have actually finished this game already. I played through I think the last time I streamed, I was fairly early on playing my first playthrough, and I was playing with Polywaffle Chris. He was sort of jumping into my server and into my game and building a bunch of stuff. He mostly did most of the power stuff. I did like the first little basic. Oh, actually, Chris did all the bio burners right at the start, and then and the coal. I did the first oil when we got to oil, and did the fuel. I did the first fuel plant, and then Chris just did like rocket fuel out the wazoo, and I never really had to worry about power again. So I hadn't really done any of that stuff. He also did all the MAM research stuff, a lot of all that unlocking. So I hadn't experienced all those things, and I wanted to redo it. And we just kind of got to the point where I just sort of pushed through at the end and finished everything that I needed to finish the game. And then credits rolled, and I literally started again straight away into a new world in a different area of the map. So yeah, I'm taking my time with this one, and I'm trying to build nice looking things. I'm thinking in advance of how I want to lay a factory out, and then how I might want to build the actual factory itself and the outside and those sorts of things, and trying to make them look good. So I'm going to showcase some of that tonight. All my early base stuff, like my starter base, and then random other, like if I'm pulling stuff from an iron node, just wanting to smelt it straight away, like right then and there, I just throw those out as per normal, like without any real making them look good or anything like that. But actual factories themselves, I'm trying to make look good. Just g'day, Keyball. I just sent you a message. Yes, I'm trying to make things look nice, and I'm doing a different approach. So the last one, I don't think I actually showed where I ended up in the end, but my last playthrough, I wanted to do like a mega factory with a main bus line. So I should actually jump into that and show you where I sort of ended up at the end. But I had like 15 to 20 trains just pulling everything. I was sort of making things up to a certain level remotely, and then everything would get brought back to a main factory and all put onto these big long bus lines. And then I'd blueprinted stackable factories, so I could like plonk a like 2 or 3 assembler unit with all the lines in and lines out all ready to go, and it was literally just connect a couple of lines and power, tell it what to make, and then it would pull everything off of the main buses. It worked actually quite well, and the end product was good. I realized sort of after I'd built it all that I had a whole bunch of stuff on the bus lines that you do not need, but like encased beams and things like that you only use in construction, not for making parts. So I had a bunch of stuff on there that was unnecessary, so it kind of got a bit out of hand, but it looked cool. It looked really impressive, especially at night with it all lit up. But yeah, this time I went, all right, I'm going to try making more individual factories. So as I've played the early game, I've been making factories for the different things. I've unlocked most of the Dimension Depot stuff, so I've just made factories that are producing enough stuff to go into dimensional depots so I can grab stuff from there and build things and whatever. But I'm now at the point where I need to be making more, but I'm trying to go, all right, I want to build this certain thing. I'm going to build a factory that just builds that thing, and then even though parts from that I'm already making somewhere else, I'm making those parts again to supply just that factory and have it all sort of encased in the same thing, which, yeah, very, very different approach. But I'm kind of getting to a point now where I probably need to just be setting up a larger factory to pull in to build the sort of end game stuff. And I'm going to have to start ramping up some production on a few things. So, yeah, that's sort of where I'm at. Like I said, this game has been consuming all of my spare time. And then when I'm not playing and I'm sitting on the couch watching TV, I'm usually got the laptop out and I'm on Satisfactory Tools, planning out the next factory that I need to build. So anyway, let's have a look and see where we're at. Need to manually change scenes in OBS. Goodness me. This should work. There we go. That works. Yeah, looks like stuff's working still. Cool. Good start. Okay, so this is my starter base. I do have the hover pack. I'm in phase 4. I'll just turn those game stands down a touch. Yeah, I'm in phase 4. I've got aluminium production, that sort of stuff, and have the hover pack. Which, oh man, when you finally get the hover pack, making things is so much easier. It's just ridiculous trying to jump and hover when you're using fuels. So yeah, this is my starter base. So I have my line of bio burners here fueling me up. They're all off now, but I still haven't deleted them. I started making, I think I've got a couple of ore nodes here. I'm making like iron plates and whatever random stuff here, screws and things, feeding them in. And then these is actually making some space elevator stuff like smart plating, and I think I'm making the motors, whatever they're called, over here. I've got a sloop in there apparently. Yeah, whatever these things are called, modular engines. Yeah, and then I've got a bunch of random, like, oops, I've got a ping like that. I've got like copper, random stuff over there, some concrete and things, and that's all feeding in here into some, was just going into storage chests, and then I was grabbing stuff from there as I needed it, and then obviously as I got dimensional depots, I've unlocked those and just have all that feeding in, and everything's just feeding out into a sink over there to rack me up some coupons. Got my dump points. As soon as I unlocked slooping, I set up a nice thing here for the alien, so you can dump your slugs and it sloops them, dump your alien stuff and it sloops them. So you're sort of doubling all the stuff you're doing, and then dump whatever else. I got a bunch of random garbage in here that I really don't need. I can send to the dump point, whatever. Oh no, whatever. So yeah, this is starter base. I branched out a bit down, all the way down here. We've got, I think we've got some quartz going on all the way down the end there. There's a random quick wire thing up there. Modular frames, my first lot of modular frames I'm building just over here. So usual starter base stuff, nothing much going on. And then I unlocked trains and started expanding. So I'm going to take you around on my train network to have a bit of a squiz at that. Sloop, yeah, a sloop is there's an alien technology thing. You get these things called, whoops, summer sloops, these weird alien things, and you can put them into machines and they increase the output. So this one, if you put one sloop in, you get a 2 times output. So it costs you nothing more for your input, but you get 2 times output. The more complicated things that you're making, you might need 2 or 4 sloops to get a double multiplier. But yeah, you find them around the map. There's things called sloops, there's things called mersospheres, which are these weird alien technology things which let you make these dimensional depots. So this is my inventory here. This is all the stuff that I have uploaded to the dimensional depot, and I can just grab these things off of here whenever I want, and you can feed your storage chests straight into a dimensional depot, however you want to say it, so that it always stocks you up with stuff. So when you're building something, if you've got things in your dimensional depot, it will pull them from there if you don't have them in your inventory. So as you get into the later game, it's 100% essential. It makes the game so much easier. You don't have to keep running back and stocking up your inventory. So I'm going to take you around my train track, but before I do have a couple of things that I don't have trains to. I did set up, I've got some hypertubes here. This factory we're just going past now is one of the first big factories that I tried to build, so I will show you that. I've made these blueprints for these bus lines running around the place. This is my first coal plant over here when I first unlocked that, started needing power. I am up in the Dune Desert, and yeah, finding water was a bit more work. Coal up here, coal here, but none of this water here is deep enough to get water out of. Actually, my first coal plant was up here. There's a little spot here. You can just see it. See where the colour's a little bit darker? You can just get a water extractor in there, and I have that fed around to here to make my first coal plant before I discovered there was coal up here and, you know, water here and all that sort of stuff. And then I ended up making I think I have a coal plant, yeah, here. Compacted coal. Grabbing some sulfur and some coal, but coal is boring. We're not going to bother looking at it. So this is my first large-scale factory. I think this is where I'm making all my steel stuff. Steel beams, steel pipes. I think I've got encased beams going on over there. Pulling a little bit of copper in, I think I'm making motors and stators. I think this is motors going in here and stators going into here. And they're all just feeding into depots. So, and then all the excess is just running into sinks, as you should, to keep getting all those coupons. So, yeah. Coal plant. Oops. Coal plant over here. Compacted coal plant is somewhere over here. I've never really been a fan of hypertubes. They are fast, and if you set up the launchers that we've got set up here at the start, they can be nice and fast. I think with update 1.1, where you can have junctions and actually turn, like you can. So I haven't bothered setting one up to this factory over here because I'd have to set up another line to go there. So once we can have junctions, then I can just put a junction in there and branch off, and away we go. But we don't currently have that, so they're just kind of annoying to use. All right, so I think this might have actually been the second factory that I decided to build to make look good. So you can see it there in the background. It looks fairly impressive. It's still a big cube or a big square, but I tried to make it look at least somewhat interesting. If you see this white line shooting off, if you don't know what that is the hover pack. As you go over something with power, it picks up power from that. You know, I made it look... It is decorated to some extent. You can see in there, it looks pretty cool. I even sheeted the roof and everything. So this factory is making heavy modular frames. So we've got concrete coming in here, steel beams and steel ingots coming in from over here, feeding into this factory. Over here I'm making random space elevator stuff. We won't worry about that. And none of that looks good, but I made this with the intention of putting a train line here somewhere at some point. Haven't gotten around to that yet because I haven't really needed to, but I'm getting to the point where I need to make fused modular frames, which is the this one here on this milestone that I need 100 of. I'm going to need a ton of those later. They need heavy modular frames, so I'm going to have to set up a train to take them from here. I'm not going to make a whole new factory. So this is the entrance to my factory. Yeah, I actually spent a fair bit of time trying to make this look good, trying to decorate it and color it, and like lining all these beams up and actually getting it to look nice. Painted beams are your best friend for decorating. So you will actually see, well, as long as everything's running, I can see a bunch of yellow things in there. For some reason we are not running very well, but you should actually see some heavy modular frames come down here. The fact that we're not seeing any come down is a bit of a concern. Super frustrating when you set things up. They're all meant to run nicely. You set it all up perfectly, and then you go away and come back 3 weeks later and it's not working for some reason. Oh, there we go. Some heavy modular frames. So this is just for the look. They drop down, they go down. Under here I have storage and a dimensional depot and a sink. So at the moment they're probably just going straight into the sink, but we won't go under there because we don't actually have easy access. But yeah, this is the look that I wanted to go. I actually sort of stole this idea from somebody else. Underneath these raised sections is a bunch of splitters and things like that, but I've set it all out so we're using, like, these are like Mark 1 lifters and things so that things stay there for a while, so they actually look, they're not just, Mark 5 lifts so that everything just runs away flat out. They actually, hang around and you get to see them lifting everywhere. I do have lights. I've set like light panels up the back there. Just to light it all up. Obviously no ceiling lights, but there's enough light coming in for that. And then, as you can see underneath all the belts, I don't know why these belts are all jammed up. We're obviously not using enough iron plates for some reason. So I'm not sure what's going on there. This factory is built to run... It should be running... Everything running 100% all the time. It's been calculated that way. Everything's been balanced that way. I mean, it's all manifolds, not actual load balancers, but it's all sort of split in ways that should be working. So when you come in and it's not, it's super annoying. But yeah, bottom floor, we're making all the base stuff with the constructors. And then they are all feeding, as you can see all along here. They feed in at the back and then come out the front and then all feed up the back here. I love this look. I've done this in a few of my factories. The lifts going up at the end there and just seeing everything moving up those conveyors I really like. A little bit of decoration here. These storage containers are just for nothing. They're just storage containers. Trying to get these stairs to work how I wanted was a massive pain in the backside. You can just sort of see through the back there. Yeah, there's a bunch of splitters and things where everything feeds into. So this concrete, these steel beams, these steel pipes, all that sort of stuff, that is all coming from the factories that we looked at outside. They're just feeding straight up and coming into there. And then this is all the stuff from downstairs, and they all feed into, out the back there. So then this level we have the assemblers. So we're taking 2 parts and producing 1. So we've got reinforced iron plate, a bunch of reinforced iron plates. We've got some modular frames. Yeah, modular frames, reinforced iron plates, and then we should have encased beams coming in here. I don't know why we're running slow again, but anyway. That all feeds in to 2 manufacturers here. So we are making heavy modular frames, and these should be running at 100%. This one's running at 83%. I don't know why. This one's probably running at even less. 80%. Okay, no idea. But yeah. Nice glass roof, nice view out. Pretty happy with this. This is my first sort of real attempt at making something look good. It's very easy in this game to just, especially once you unlock the hover pack, you just fly around everywhere and you don't actually, take the time to appreciate what you've built, which obviously is part of the game. One thing I'm disappointed with in this factory is I had to build this wall in here because I actually have a whole bunch of conveyor belts running directly behind here, and I couldn't find a good way to hide them, and I couldn't drop them down lower. So I've built this. I would have liked to have had this all the way down so you can just see straight out the back, but it is what it is. This is the first time I've been in this factory in a very long time. So you put all the work into making it, and then you never come here again. So I think that was technically my second attempt at a pleasing to the eye factory. Yeah, Cuball, if you have liked Factorio, you will love this game. Okay, so let's go and jump on the trains. This is, for those who haven't played before, this is the space elevator. So what we are doing, the aim of this game is we are making parts. So we're currently in phase 4. These are the space elevator parts up the top here. We are feeding them into this space elevator. They get shot up here, and they are making a ship, a spaceship that will take a whole bunch of these parts that we're making and take them to wherever the human colony is or whatever it is that they need them. And all my job is to make the parts to put in there. It looks really cool when you upload stuff or whatever it's called, put the stuff up there. It actually expands. When this first started, there was pretty much nothing up the top there, and yeah, it gets bigger and bigger until it eventually turns into a spaceship that disappears. All right, train tracks. So in the last playthrough, I used a lot of trains. I had a train network that ran from probably up maybe like here. The map I have not explored. I've only explored this top. This is maybe a quarter of the map. It goes, the actual land stuff goes way down here, all the way around here and up here. So I had a train track that ran from like here, all the way down the side, all the way down the bottom, all the way around here, and a bunch of stations all in the way. And my main factory was sort of down here, so lots of trains on there. Found the trains really efficient once you can figure out the signaling. Signaling is confusing. But in the first playthrough, I built foundations for all of my tracks. So I had all of my tracks sitting on foundations like this. I built curves, I did ramps. G'day, Paulson. I spent a lot of time doing that, and it took way too long. Looked very cool, but it took way too long. This playthrough, what I've done is I've built a blueprint that has this stand with a base and a couple of tracks on it, which I can show you. Let's go something like this. So yeah, looks like this. It is a base with a stand and 2 tracks on it. And so what you can do is you can place that out, and then you can run your track to that point, and then place out another one, and then run your tracks to that point from there. So it's made it way quicker. In the 1.1 update that's coming out, you can actually auto-connect this. So you can set up a blueprint, and go like click your mouse button and it connects automatically to your existing tracks, and then you drag it out and go, yep, I want it there, and then it does the tracks automatically, and then you do the same and same and same, and that'll make it even quicker. But I found this method quite quick. I've got the tracks set at different heights for, you know, going up and down things, and yeah, it's allowed me to pump out the train tracks very quickly. The only thing is that because the blueprint is a flat section, there are sections in the track where you kind of roller coastering, can't see my hand, roller coastering down a hill, which is a bit I don't really like, but it was a hell of a lot quicker, and then you can just run along and add your signals. So yeah, first section of train track was going down this way, which we'll run down. I now have trains going back the other way, and yeah, it's a fairly decent network, which I'll expand. But yeah, this is starter base. I haven't made anything look good about any of this. It is just a train track. So not just let's go to, let's just set it to self-drive. I try with the train tracks, I try and make them go in places where it looks nice, like, you know, driving along this waterfall and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, once you can figure out your signaling for your trains, it's a lot easier. This whole junction that I've got set up here is a bit weird. Actually, there's another train. Where did it go? Over there somewhere. Yeah, you know, driving through the canyon, under things like this. I like all this sort of stuff. It's, yeah, it's cool. So this is... Oh, my computer's just started going jumpy. My computer does not like this game when I'm streaming, so this could be interesting, because it did this last time. I'll just give it a sec to see if it comes good, but yeah, it started doing this last time. Maybe I can't stream this game. So yeah, this is my quartz. I've got just a little... I'm picking up quartz for crystal oscillators, I think. So we are just pulling out some quartz and turning it into quartz crystals, whacking them on a train and sending them on their way. Yeah, this is no good. I'm going to quickly restart the game. Let me just... None of my buttons work, so... Nope, okay. OBS is also being weird. There we go. Apologies. It's weird. It was doing this last time, but it's not like, you know, using up all my memory or anything like that. It's just doesn't like it. And now it's totally fine. I'll give it 2 seconds and then we'll jump back into that. Yeah, trains are cool in this game. If you need to be transporting around large amounts of product, whether it's parts or raw resources or whatever, trains are the way to go. You can get drones, so I'm setting up drones. I've got some drones, actually not doing anything at the moment. I've set up some drone ports, which I'll show you as we get through it. But drones are, you need to fuel them. So you need to have a way to get fuel for the drones. You can use batteries, you can use a bunch of different fuels. So yeah, you need that system in place, and they are limited in what they can do. They can only go from one drone port to another drone port and back. That's all they do. Whereas a train, you can program a full timetable where they go. You can set it to go from this station to this station to this station to this station, and you can say, hey, pick up this thing at this station, or only pick up this thing at this station, only drop this thing off at this station here, then go here, here. You can have full train networks. The other good thing with trains is the train tracks, they transport power. So I'm just back in the game now. Oh, no. Just need to... Oh, there it is. Cool. Back. So if you have a train station, or if you've got train tracks, you need power to your train station. So if you make a train station and then run a bunch of track and then put another station, you can then pull power off of that train station to give you power to a remote factory or whatever, so you don't have to run power lines everywhere, which I find to be quite useful. So yeah, definitely a big fan of trains. So this is my first little quartz setup here, just making silica and quartz going into dimensional depots for using for building. This is, I think we're making, what are we making here? Whoa, nearly gonna crash. Whoa, slow up. Cables. I think we're making, we're doing quick, no, this isn't quick wire. I think we're just making cables and copper sheet. Where are we? Copper sheets and cables. Oops, I just made my trains crash. Nope, I think I just bunted into the back of the back of this train. Let's wait for this train to get off the station. Alright, off it goes. Yeah, and then we've got... Let's go. So you can manually drive your trains around, but I am... Or you can set them to do timetables and things. I'm just manually driving this around at the moment. And then I have up the top there, you can see I'm pulling quick wire. So quick wire is basically like the equivalent of gold in this game. It gets used in like computer stuff, circuit boards and things like that. So I'm pulling a whole bunch of quick wire from up there, and I have a mini factory set up there to turn that into... Caterium is the resource, and you turn that into things like quick wire. Which is, yeah, useful for computers and things. I'm trying to do things like this, where I put something up on a high spot or whatever, put some foundations there, put some supports, at least make it look believable that that thing could be there, which I just didn't even bother with my first playthrough. All right. So then we have, a funky little train platform setup we got going on here. This is, we're pulling some coal. This is where I first started taking some coal for, what was I doing it for? Turbo fuel? I want to go, oops, I've accidentally gone to the station. So we're pulling down some coal from just behind us here and some sulfur from up on the mountain up there. And the train is taking that down to a plant that we'll go to in a minute. Now, we might actually pull in here. So this is... Let's just sit here. I'm going to make sure I don't disrupt any of my other trains that are on the go. This is plastic and rubber. So these ones here are all making plastic. These ones here are all making rubber. As part of that process, you end up with what's called heavy fuel, heavy oil. Oop. Heavy oil residue, which you can then turn into fuel. I don't know why these are all black. I must have changed the color, and these are meant to be orange. These are fuel generators. So this is my first oil-based fuel plant. So we are spitting out plastic, rubber, taking the leftovers and turning that into fuel. I've then since added on to that, so I now have this station here which I'm pulling in that other train that we were looking at before. This is bringing in cable, copper sheet, quartz crystal, and the quick wire. And I'm then taking some of this plastic and rubber, and I'm making crystal oscillators and I think AI limiters and high-speed connectors. Yep, high-speed connectors, crystal oscillators, AI limiters. Yeah, I have not finished decorating this factory. I got it up and running, started decorating it, and then decided that I wanted to build something else, so I have not finished it off yet. But yeah, the plan is to run lights around the insides of all of these to finish it off, and then you know, put some guard railing around the edges, and then build up the outside and make it look nice somehow. But as you can see over here, this is my to-do list. I still have finished decorating the factory at the rubber plant. That's this factory here. I've had this fix-up shoddy pipework at rubber plant since I did the shoddy pipework, and I still haven't fixed it because it is not a priority. All right, so then we can go to let's just edit my timetable and go to the turbo fuel plant. Okay, so this, turn that on. Where I'm taking now is the first factory that I decided to build and make look nice, and I bit off way more than I could chew. I had a grand plan. Actually, I need a turnaround here because we're now going to have to drive all the way up to the coal pickup and come back again. I should have just deleted the train and made a new one. It would have been quicker. Anyway, I like driving through this canyon. It's nice. My signaling in this area is not right. I can streamline the signaling. There's too much slowing down. Train signaling is super confusing when you add in intersections and junctions and stuff. But if you can get it right, it works amazing. If you get it wrong, all your trains jam up and sit there and do nothing. So things like this, where it's slowing down a bit, it shouldn't need to be slowing down there. The game's gone jumpy again. This is frustrating. Apologies for the stutter. Yeah, I'm gonna have to kill it again. I'm gonna have to make this stream short. This is annoying. I don't know. Nothing is telling me that I am overloaded or doing anything that I shouldn't be doing, and you know, my graphics card isn't going a million miles an hour. My RAM's not being used up. I don't know. It just doesn't like this game, which is a shame. Alright, and then it's back. Yeah, so it's obviously something with the game. Maybe I can turn the graphics down or something like that. That might help. I'll try that when I jump back into the game. I'm reloading it again now. Cheap viewers. I do not want cheap viewers. Thank you. Gotta remember, it's been so long, I can't remember how to delete people's messages. There's a way to do it. Ban. I think that deletes them. Alright, let me just quickly try turning down some graphics. Let's just go medium for the sake of and we'll see if that works. Once it picks my game up again. Yellow. All right. Okay. Let's just delete this train. I need to make sure this train station is free because this train station is supplying me all my power. All right, so I had a grand plan when I started this. This area looks amazing. This is what is called the Coral Coast. You've got corals everywhere. It looks very nice, and I wanted my trains to run around, whatever, and then build a big. This is a turbo fuel factory. And I kind of had this vague wanting to do like a curved edge all along following the train line and then have the things follow the curve. This game's not really built for curves. You can do curve stuff, as you can see here. It's a pain in the backside, but all your factories go on square lines and it's way too much work. I should have just built everything square, which I did in another factory, which is over there. And given up on this curve, or just added this curve in later to make it look nice. But yeah, this is what I went with. So we have underneath here, we have a whole stack of coral that is all hemmed in, so you can still see that, and then everything's all built above it. So the train is bringing in coal and sulfur, and if you were to get off the train, you are greeted by a nice staircase, and we have coal and sulfur. Can't really see because of the glare and probably because I turned my graphics down, but wow, that is some serious glare on that glass. There is coal and sulfur being lifted up either side here. Yeah, that side's a little bit easier to see. Again, using slow conveyor lifts to have them sit there for a while, and then everything runs under the glass floor. We have an alien power matrix generator which uses sloops to increase your power because that's the thing. Yeah, and then everything is running under here. We have coal and sulfur all split up, all going to some assemblers, which are turning that into compacted coal, which is then feeding out here and running all around there, which I'll show you in a minute. But I wanted to keep the things like this, like these little islandy bits, keep them as part of it. There's one there, one here. Do a nice curve around them. Looks cool. I'll come back to this plant soon. So the compacted coal runs around all under the bottom here and all the way over here to these over here. So these are refineries that are pulling in some oil and turning that oil into fuel and polymer resin. That polymer resin is then coming along underneath here, going into this little refinery here, which is turning it into fabric, which you don't really need much of in this game. So it's just feeding into a dimensional depot and then going off into a sink. But yeah, all that fuel, the pipes for it all, is all running underneath here. You can see down there all the coral. It's all running under here. These are all turning that fuel into turbo fuel. Fuel comes in this side, and turbo fuel comes out the other side, which is then all piped around to all of these banks of generators. And this is how we get all our power. So yeah, pipes all feed in underneath. And yeah, we generate a decent amount of power out of this. I think it's like maybe 12 or 15k or something like that. What am I generating? I'm sitting on about 22,000. I think just this plant might be like 15,000. I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, this is how I wanted everything to be hanging underneath, all the belts and everything, so that this whole coral reef is still exposed. So I was pretty happy with the end result. It doesn't look anywhere near as good as it does normally, because I've just turned my graphics right down to hopefully not have this weird issue that's going on again. But yeah, I was pretty happy with the result. It took me way longer than I thought it was going to take, but I got there in the end. I think after I built this, I then went and built that heavy modular frames factory, and then since then I have then built this factory here. So this train line runs all the way around the back. I don't currently have anything else going on, but at some point I'm probably going to be building something over here somewhere. there is more oil nodes. Yeah, stack more oil nodes over here that I will probably use at some point. And then this is, yeah, similar concept. I wanted to keep this little feature in here. I couldn't figure out a good way to do these walls and make them look good. Yeah, not super happy with it, but concept was there. This is pulling in copper from way up on the hill up here. We're pulling in more oil, and we're making a bunch of plastic. I think it's all plastic here, actually. Feeding all that plastic in, we're making AI limiters, circuit boards, something. Yeah, these are making circuit boards. These are making cable. Yeah, making wire into cable. Feeding over to here, and we are making computers, I think. Yeah, making some computers here. And then we have the byproduct of the heavy residual again, which is making a little bit of fuel, and we're just pumping that fuel into some generators for some extra power. I think we're also taking some excess circuit boards and putting them in to a depot. Yep, circuit boards. Yeah, so I was pretty happy with this, the end result of this factory. Yeah, it came up quite nice. I like this feature. Again, we're raised up. You can see all the coral underneath. My initial plans with this was to make the computers and have them feed down to a train line underneath. I thought I could bring the train line in under and through here and out here and join back up to there and pick up the computers, but I kind of don't